you keep marry me? We'll give her thoughts. I'd have asked her before that day. And I asked her, will you keep marry me? Do you know why? That will you marry me thing, it's a blind question. Because you say you marry me. And I've seen issues where
Papi, you don't say will you marry me? You just simply ask the lady.
Okay.
Be my wife.
Be
my wife.
And no,
my
at that point, for me,
you must have a BMW. You must be driving a BMW to do that.
So it's a point of we agreeing
be
to
my
work
wife, BMW
together. It's a thing of us agreeing to work together and see if we'll be wife.
So the summary of the whole thing is we are expecting this proposal in 10 years.
10 years.
Okay.
Papi Sam.
2020, 30.
That's anniversary.
It's already by the
corner.
Yeah, so I'm going somewhere. Okay. The truth is, at that time,
we'll come back to
it will be much more fun and much
podcast.
more. But for me as a person, I'm a Yoruba boy.
That's actually
my forefathers are not white. Hold on, are not white people.
Okay.
And I naturally won't pick up a white culture to build my life.
Did you do a white wedding?
That's not who I am. I didn't want to do it though, but because my parents are pastors.
So it's still a white culture.
But left for me, if they allow me. Because
ended at the traditional.
what the Bible talks about is where we pay dowry, engagement.
You people are looking for my trouble
now. Because when we are
looking for my trouble.
No, I've said all of these things to say that we invest too much in the wedding than the marriage. I will do things excessively. Exactly. I naturally like to keep my things simple. Let's just go ahead and just be fine. You know, that's.
Emperor, did you kneel down?
But eventually.
Did you bend the knee?
Did you bend the knee?
Kneel down, kill my enemy.
so eventually,
sincerely, I was expecting a different response.
I fold your hand if I didn't fold my wife's hand.
Okay.
Ladies,
but I think those days the bending of knee was not trending.
Yes, it was.
It was not trending.
It was trending.
Cynthia, well, of a truth, bending of nails wasn't trending.
Because social media was not that.
It became popular years later.
After social media.
Yes. I mean, 20 years ago, I knew about someone kneeling down, but then it wasn't like it has to be.
Is that marriage intact? Is that marriage intact till today? That marriage you talked about?
No, I was talking about when I started dating and marriage and all that, you know. So by God's grace, my marriage is intact.
Amen.
And it's
not your marriage. The person who knelt down.
That's time.
Even know.
Okay, don't know. Right, okay.
So the point I'm trying to make is that I like being holistic. I don't like when we actually pick what's convenient for us. When we talk about the Western culture, you know, there is westernization of our mentality and everything. Exactly. You know, so we pick what's convenient for us. I want to get married. You expect me. Yesterday, in the last episode, I had a wife on set. So Sassy is my wife on set today. Can you clap for her? Yeah. I want that. So Sassy, will you be my wife? Will you be my wife?
Odogu, please.
Do you want me to kneel down one knee?
Yes.
We know where the story
Let me tell you something. I'm about to go on one kneel. Mm-hmm. You see, one kneel will be standing. Mm-hmm. The other kneel will touch the floor. Mm-hmm. So we are going to balance it, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But when we balance it, we balance everything. When we want to pay school fees, we share it. When we go to KFC, please, that's Western culture. We divide the bill.
Exactly.
Don't
Western
take
culture.
the one that you like and leave the other one.
You
No, the thing is, for me as a person,
sleep and
I feel that
oh God,
I don't like how that we celebrate that Western culture too much. You have to propose, and then it was really becoming an issue that if you don't propose, I won't marry. That was when my mind changed about it. I've had friends that they say the guy didn't propose, I'm not interested. And that's them.
Excuse
me. Is that how your father married your mother? Because if you go back in the days, those things were not there, and they had a good marriage, they had a good homes. So why would we make it a criteria?
Even these days, if you don't propose as if you people did not meet right.
Exactly.
But I think this whole thing is boiled down to this generation.
Gen Z.
Yes.
I call them Gen Z.
Because the ladies,
Change it to Gen Z.
these young girls of nowadays is already stick to their head that a guy has to kneel down.
Yeah.
Programming, Instagramming.
Yes.
Now, we're
It's
talking about
everywhere.
I have this
how to choose a life partner. Choose a partner that is serious and won't take those peripheral things as that you used to tell us back then. If you want to marry single people, marry a woman like a guy now, marry a woman that can cook and pray. Those are my basic criteria for my wife. When I saw that, I saw her background. I knew where she was coming from.
It's a serious prayer.
And this one can cook. The first time I went to, in fact, this testimony is long. The first time I went to the house, the parent just said I should come during COVID, July. I should just come around, and I just got there, met the mom, said we've been waiting for you. Even before that time, let me even give you guys this gist. We were at the program here. Well, at the program, and then the dad was part of the minister. I think he was taking off free, and I don't know him, so I was telling my people, see as this man is so dark, even born self, what more thing, she just smiled. She said, he's so dark, and then see his wife, and the wife is fine, no. But why is this one? Are they from Kenya or those East African countries? So just because we were looking like that, she just smiled. She didn't say anything. So at the end of the program, she was like, I would like to see my parents first before I leave, because I had a meeting so that I can go and rest, and then we'll see when they was okay. So she was like, do you mind
seeing them?
Following them? I was like, you Bible,
Let's interpret, please.
That a young man has to be courageous. So let's brave. So be brave. So as we're going from afar, the mom just said, I was like, and we're in the same thing. I just froze. I really froze. And I frustrated. And when we were going
from the Kenya, you are now speaking in front of the Kenyan man.
I was like, if I told you, I'll spoil the phone.
Exactly.
I just kept quiet. That was how I knew a kind of person.
Yeah.
She didn't even get angry.
Exactly.
You didn't know the person. She got angry, and then we laughed over it, and then we.
Wow.
And that was the day I actually fell in love with her.
I like her personality.
So matured about it, because people was on that girl. You don't even know the person. I say person, but I tell me sorry. Those things I don't like it.
Well, the both parties are correct. Everybody with everybody with the way they handle situations. Everybody with their own personality. So both parties, if she had reacted or she didn't react, both parties are correct. They are right in their own perspective.
But there are ways you handle conflicts.
Yeah, sure.
Amicable result.
Do you know that one side said?
And from this of understanding, so she probably understood. She understood that this guy does not know my father. He would have said, and he was not pretending. Because for my wife, she likes people that really be yourself, don't pretend. And that was the thing for her, that this guy does not pretend. I used to do a lot of people.
That's the fourth opinion based on personal experience we've heard on how people chose their life partner. We want to hear a synthetic
Cindy.
Yeah, on how to choose a life partner.
Yeah.
Okay, I would say the formula is not written anywhere.
Yeah.
What works for you might not work for another person. So there goes the saying, one man's meat is another man's poison. Actually, me meeting my husband, when I met him, I didn't know he was the one. We were still in school. But he told me after the whole thing that he knew. That for him, it was love at first sight.
Wow.
So, and that made me to now recall what he did the first day we met. He didn't actually speak to me, but his movements, everything was just, I was not paying attention because this is, my head was not into, in fact, marriage came for me. I wasn't ready for me personally then. I was not ready. He came for me. If you ask me, are you ready to marry then? No, I wasn't. So my husband then, we were in school. He has always been my knight in shining armor, but I never paid attention to him. Yeah, I never paid attention to him. In fact, he was not in the list. He was not. If I had a list, he was not. But the honest truth is that I got to a point in my life that, once you come out from school, mommies will start, they will pick you, they will ask you, how far, who is coming. Before they were not asking you, they were telling you to stay clear from men. But the moment you graduate, they want to know.
The same men they ask
you to stay clear from.
Yeah, Bimbo is coming to see you.
Did I do magic?
In the house.
Allow me, give me time. Since you say I should stay clear from it, give me time. They will not tell you there is no time. But they will say, don't get wine. Grandchildren. Time is
I need grandchildren. I'll train you.
You know that man's time is going.
A man's time is also good.
But the mothers will all but the mothers will always tell you that a woman's time is going. So I started praying. My husband was still not in my, but he was there. He has always been there. All through our school days, we were friends. If I have any difficulty, because we studied the same course, computer science, he was good, practically good. In fact, if I have any issue with like me, I am the talking person. When you come down to practical, it will take me time. But when you say present this, even when we're in school and we are presenting our project, I will be there. I will present there, no problem. You see the guys that wrote the program, they will tell me, don't worry, Cynthia, you'll be the one to present. We'll just we'll tell you the things to do. No problem, I'll do it. But when it comes to defending the project, it's if the guys know what to do. So my husband was 2 years ahead of me. So any help I needed then, he was always there. After school, he was always there. Like, he was always there. Even after school, he got a job in Lagos. Then I was looking for a job. He helped me. That was when I fell in love with him. After school, during school,
he has been your helpmate.
So when I was praying, I was living at Ikotu with my uncle. So the wife is this kind of spiritual woman. She will pray. This woman can fast. She will pray. In fact, before you come to her house, she will pray before you come, so that you will not be ogbanje and come to her house. So you will not carry your ogbanje and come and so she was like that. And me, I have this prayer background. Although we are Catholics, but my mom is in charismatic. So this part of Catholic, they pray like Pentecostal churches. They pray a lot. So I grew with that. So one day I told the woman, "Ma, you will not disturb me for 3 days." Oh. I said, what happened? I said, I want to pray. You want to pray? Pray now. I said, "Ma, I will not open that door." See. And that was the first time I've never in my life tried that. Even my friends, they know me. My friends my outward look portrays this girl that is always outgoing, easygoing, has no spiritual background. They don't know what I do inside you. I pray. So I told her, "Ma, please, you will not disturb me." She said, "No problem." As a spiritual person, I think she understood. So for 3 days, I didn't come out. I was just inside. What was it?
Without the list, though, this time.
Without list, I was just. I didn't even have list. I don't think I had list. For a woman, I don't think women. Though some women will have list, maybe they will have somebody. There was nobody in my life then. Like.
My wife had we're 5.
Hey. Sorry, what did you say?
My wife had we're 5.
Oh, really? Oh my goodness.
Was it before she met you?
No.
Even
said while I was at we're 5.
Wow. It happens. It happens. Women. When suitors line up, exactly. But me, I wasn't attached to anybody. There were people, but I didn't see it as a list. So I just prayed for a life partner. God, I don't just want to end up with someone that will not understand me, because I am this type of person that if you poke me once, the second time I'm going to react. And God, I don't
get you puke.
Yes, I don't want. And I know that a little thing can get on my nerve. I don't want that. Imagine me living with someone for years. It would take a lot. God, please give me someone I will respect. Because respect was an issue. I said, God, give me someone I will submit to and respect him. And people will be like, Cynthia, is this you? Truly, is this you? And at the end of the day, God did it. Okay, so after the prayer, the 4th day, when I finally opened that door, he doesn't know this one. Oh. Maybe when you listen to this podcast, he will not know. He doesn't know this part. So after the prayer, the 4th day, my uncle's wife, we went to church. They had a program then, so we were rounding up with the program. And then their spiritual mommy, their pastor's wife, was just praying and said, tell that person that yes, he is the husband, that the husband is by the corner, just like you said, that the husband is. I said, this woman is talking to me. My uncle's wife didn't even know my prayer points. She did not know my prayer. But when that woman was saying that, I said, this woman is talking to me, because how many people are here? Why would she just say it? So do you know that after that prayer, my husband just called. He just called me on phone. He said, similar. He just called. He said, he was just talking, where are you? I said, I'm fine. My mind was not there. I didn't even pick it that, oh, okay, my prayer has been answered. He was not telling me all the things I've told him. I was still looking for a job, hoping for a work. He told me that there are openings now in so and so place, and that actually last time he went home, he prayed, and actually he met this pastor. He didn't tell me his prayer point. He was just talking about prayer things and prayer things. Later, when we now met, I knew that God had answered my prayer.
Whoa.
Oh, Daddy, are you watching this? Your wife is blushing.
How many years now?
Okay, so we are 8 years now.
Wow.
So there was something that I picked from her story, which is the issue of she asked God for a man that she can respect and submit to. So how important is respect and submission in marriage? How important is it?
It is very important.
How the Bible puts it, that wife submits. So if it's important, they will not submit.
They will not put it.
Because it is important that they should, of course, and for the man to love is major.
Yes.
You have talked about submission, where there is still respect. That respect.
Sir, the truth is that, okay, so before my husband, I had this guy that would always call me. In fact, he wanted my number. I told him, then I was living with my cousin, an older cousin, a brother. He was married. So I said, since you are friend with my cousin, take my number from him. I can't disrespect him to give you my number. I am living in his house. So if you want something good, since you say your intention, so he said, are you a baby? He started saying a lot of things. Okay, after that, he went at the back and took it from a cousin of mine. That's fine. When he finally called and I started talking with him, he's quite old. He was working in Chevron then. He was a big guy and all that, all those things that a woman will see and she start tripping and all that. So when he was now calling, I now noticed that he has issue with anger. And anger triggers my own anger. If you are hot-tempered, you trigger me. So the moment he will say, hey, you don't have respect, I called you who do you think you are? I will take it from there. I will finish him. He will finish me to finish my generation. I will finish his generation. So that moment, I knew that I cannot submit. This not
respect or submit.
Yes, it's not everybody that I will be able to live under. So do you know after the fire he will also call, I want to marry you. He will also call back. He will still call back, I want to marry you. You are educated, you are this, just that your hot temper, this and that and that and that. Within the moment we want to reconcile, we will start again. Do you know that guy, I prayed him out of my life? Because you see I'm hot temper, I'm this and that, you still don't want to leave me alone. Okay. I said, oh, please go, I don't want. In fact, we never met each other one-on-one, except that day we saw at my cousin's place. Within meet, because I was scared of meeting him. I knew that if I meet this one, he will break my head or I will break his head. What will happen? So I didn't give that chance. He was just on phone, and I prayed him out of my life.
There is something I need us to hit on. What will you see in a man that will make you respect him?
A man that respects himself. Number one, a man needs to respect himself. In fact, if you ask any lady, they will tell you that I love my husband the way he respects himself. And a man respecting himself is knowing that, okay, a woman has entered my life now, or I want this woman into my life. There are certain things I need to drop. Nobody is perfect. Most times men change when they see the right woman. You see them dropping some things. In fact, they flip it out of the window.
Some habits.
Some habits, they flip it. And they assume the position of the head. When you are the head, it's not an easy job. They lead you. Through his contributions, you will know that I can follow this one. This one no road.
That's why God made them the head. They are leaders.
True.
They are like a shepherd on the family.
Yes.
They are to guide. They are to lead the family, lead the wife, lead the family, guide the family. So if they don't get that respect from the wife, from the children, they can derail.
Nothing left. There's nothing left.
There's nothing left. That's why you hear a useless man.
There's something Cynthia said that for me is very pivotal to this topic. I think people need to take note of.
Yeah.
She was very sincere in her prayers.
Yes.
Like, because lots of times you come as prayer macho, merchants, like we know it, but she said, God, this is what it is for me. And I think God loves sincere people. Even if you are weak, you just look at it, you are sincere. God, this is who I am. Yes. This is what I will do if I get this. This is what I would love to have that will make me be who I think I should be. Exactly. And for me, that's a strong one. Yes. It's a strong one.
He prayed. I didn't pray.
He did.
That's what she said. That's why she said it's not everything that works for you that works for.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or maybe
so
he prayed.
It can.
Maybe he prayed.
Yes.
Do you know
maybe
that?
No, that's what I'm saying. Maybe.
The man had seen her from that start now when she gave her life to Christ. He had seen the light shine on her.
In this whole story, in this whole conversation, I think we are pointing out the point. We are highlighting the point.
Exactly.
We talk about intentionality. We talk about you knowing yourself. You knowing what you can put down, who you are, before you can say that you want to choose a partner.
Exactly.
Sincerity, and also you have to have a conversation, and also you have to also know that, can I respect this person I'm going into a journey
for a woman?
That's knowing your role. The moment you know that your role as a woman, that once you enter that home, your role is to submit
and respect. Yeah, and though respect is reciprocal. We have to both respect each other. But then I feel God has actually placed men on us. They are above us. Anytime, any day. Let's forget about gender equality. But then we have to just submit. So we have talked about intentionality. We have talked about us. Knowing who you are, giving what you know. What you would expect that the other person should do to you. We have talked about respect. We have talked about knowing values, submission, and also we have to have a conversation. You talked about something the other time. You said people don't have conversation about how to raise their children, finance, what house do we want to live in. We are so carried away by take me to Tantalizer, buy me ice cream, buy me this. We don't stop. We don't stop. We don't have a conversation. So when you are choosing a life partner, there must be a conversation. What do you guys want in that marriage? What do you want?
This is
open
well spelled out. I remember a friend who told me, he said that when people are, for example, cutting or they started something, He said, and they start kissing and smooshing. He said it overshadows the place of conversation.
Yeah.
So you are no longer listening. You don't know. You don't know. You are not thinking. So the next thing you see yourself again, another kiss, another hug, another smooch, cuddles, and everything, and no more conversation.
Exactly.
And before you know what's happening, people are in a big mess. Thank you for highlighting those things you highlighted here.
Bedrock of any home, of a marriage.
Open conversation.
Yes. No, you get into a marriage and your husband is not the type that likes talking. Bring the conversation to the table.
Exactly.
Bring it to the table. Let him talk. I've seen marriages that, a woman, this man is too reserved. He doesn't like talking. How are you? I'm like, hey babe, hey, kilo day. Why is your husband? Is he deaf and dumb?
You see,
do you get? But after some years, I noticed the husband is not talkative.
Oh.
He said, babe,
yeah.
I had to put the conversation on the table. Open it. Oh yeah, matter don't come. Oh yeah, let's talk. This is it. This contributor.
So that means
do you get? So there should be a communication because that's how marriage will work. It's a bedrock of it.
So that means that you have to help that person uncover their real personality.
Yes.
Because environment and how you were raised can determine the kind of person you are, but not the real person.
Exactly.
Your temperament.
Yeah.
So the fact that you, like I said, the fact that you are quiet, you are reserved doesn't make you phlegmatic. Like the temperament that keeps quiet and that is calm. It might be due to your environment, how you were raised, the people around you that always shut you down and not make you talk. But the day you find your person,
that's what I'm.
And the day you have their permission, the talk will be endless. Or the talk that you have not talked since.
Yeah.
Then you keep having that.
Once you see somebody you are comfortable with,
gets
to be a talkative.
One of the criteria should be that you to have that person that you are comfortable with.
So supposing the wife is not the type that is pushy. Oh,
right. There is something I would like to chip into what you have been saying. I think at times we narrow marriage, choosing a life partner and everything, and it leads to marriage at the end of the day. We narrow marriage down to a man and a woman running a family. Okay. I think marriage is more than that.
Apparently, I agree with you.
There was something profound that I once heard from the late Dr. Miles Monroe. He said, if I were to be a lady and a guy walks up to me to say that I want to marry you, I will ask him, where are you taking us to? And what he meant by that is that a guy every one of us, we have a purpose.
Exactly.
We have a purpose. We have to, first of all, try to understand ourselves, try to understand our purpose, because anyone that joins with you is going to be taken along in that purpose.
Voyage.
So there are people who are not willing to go with you on that journey. So when you try to, you guys say, but you didn't tell me you will be this, you didn't tell me you were going into that, you didn't tell me you were going into politics, you didn't tell me you will be traveling up and down, or you didn't tell me you want to stay in Nigeria.
Emperor, what if at that point that man didn't know?
Exactly. That's why the man has to. It's better for him to know himself before even trying to bring someone on board. In fact, a man that knows himself, a woman will respect him.
Exactly.
In fact, you don't have any choice to respect him, because when a man walks in purpose, even everybody around him respects him. When a man walks in his purpose, he will be the answer to many people's prayers. He will be the answer to many people's questions. Exactly. He's adding values. Exactly. He's doing great, and people will love and respect him. Not his wife, who is supposed to be his number one fan, should not be the opposite. So when you try to, we don't always know it all. But when you strive,
at least you have
understand
glimpse, you know what you are doing and
just
everything.
more than, like you said, that when people start dating and they are smooshing, kissing, doing all of that, we need to realize that our lives is more than smooshing, kissing, and doing all of
The
that.
truth is, in the marriage, the kissing and the smooshing,
You will do it over
and you just realize there's more to life.
Yes. In fact, your conversation, we keep talking about communication, conversations, and all of that.
Yeah.
The conversation will be rich if there is something to talk about.
Talk about true, something tangible.
If you don't know where you are going, so I asked the question. You see, there are two fine girls in a street, and one marries a guy and one marries the other. So when one marries a guy who becomes a laborer, I mean, with all due respect to every laborer out there, you become the wife of a laborer.
Exactly.
If you marry one Mr. James today, but you know that Mr. James, even if he doesn't have more than a pair of shoes, so this Mr. James is going places because
Potential.
his vision is as real, his dreams are as real to him as today. Even when there is nothing on ground. But you can see the passion, you can see the fire, you can see that it's working in line
towards
with
it.
you can take it to bank. You say, God give us life. 10, 20 years down the line, I know that this Mr. James, I'll be the wife of a senator. I'll be the wife of a governor. You see, and all of that. So this is another important aspect. It goes beyond marriage, goes beyond our lives, go beyond the petty things.
Yes.
You press the toothpaste. I don't like how you use the toilet. Those things are very important. They are day-to-day things. But we have to drive the conversation forward, bigger, and give the world, this model family.
I'll add to this. Very well said, Emperor. I'll add to this. The truth is, I'm speaking to the audience too. You can't get to this point without knowing the Lord Jesus Christ. You can't. A lot of people can achieve things, but with a negative impact to the society. You can have a senator who is destroying lives, embezzling funds, and everything. Now, of course, he's wealthy, but you said, brother. So you are talking about someone who has a vision given by the Almighty God.
But I want to rephrase that, if you permit me, Uncle Tokes, that now I'm a Christian. I love church, I serve in church and all of that. I don't want us to also restrict our understanding that the only time you can find your purpose is if you are already in church. Now, somebody said, I am brilliant, I made a first class in the university, I'm the best petrochemical engineer you can find around and all of that, and I don't have any relationship with God. I want to believe that God started dealing with you from the day he formed you in your mother's womb.
Exactly.
God does not start dealing with you, the day you walk up, you honor an altar call.
Okay,
God.
The reason for this is we're talking about how to choose a life partner. Now, somebody can be a petrochemical engineer.
God gave Mommy Jill to Daddy Jill.
I'm going somewhere. You can be a petrochemical engineer and also a wife batterer.
Yes.
Now, at the same time, you can be a petrochemical engineer, not know Christ, and not batter.
Exactly.
Of course, yes,
exactly.
and batter.
Exactly.
I know, but of course, we are talking about a safe place where you can be rest assured that I am not taking a wrong step. Because, of course, we've not talked about red flags. You talked about even a red banner. You didn't even talk about a flag. There are certain things you see, and I don't want to go here. And I noticed something. There are people you meet, and you know that, I will be safe in this space.
Yes.
For me, as a man, what I want is peace.
Mr.
I
Top,
just want
most of times, the red flag is not there before you even get married.
I don't believe.
Do you know you will?
No, most of times you might not.
Maybe hidden. And the person is blinded, not willing to see.
The person might be
blinded the person. It's not that the red flags were not there.
Wait, I know.
Something else blinded the person.
What I'm saying is that You are so much in love that you don't see ahead.
It will be the eyes will open when
it's when you have entered fully into it that you will not discover the red flag. Maybe little by little it will start coming to you like a dream, like a vision.
So Sassy, see the issue of red flags. When you want to choose a life partner, is different from you are just playing. You have a friend.
We have devil incarnates. There are people that will just pretend.
Wait. We live in an established society.
Okay.
The calendar today says we are in the year 2025. So the world at least is more than 2,000, 4,000 years. So anything that we are doing today, people have been doing it for thousands of years. If you are getting married today, people have been getting married before my great ancestors were born. Exactly. So marriage is not a new concept.
Exactly.
Even in our culture, as unwesternized as we may be before Western civilization came, there are things that were put in place. When I was growing up, I grew up in a polygamous home. My mom was just so nice and everything. She's just good to everybody. But I had a stepmom that I learned something from. She told me that when a boy, their son, brings a girl to the house, there's a way she looks at the lady's leg and she said, "Oh boy, come. This lady has given birth before. Are you aware?"
You must be kidding me.
I'm not kidding you.
Mothers, they know.
They know when someone is pregnant. There are other things that. Well, the point I'm trying to make is that in our culture, in our environment, there are principles already put in place to check some things. It's not always perfect. All these principles are not always perfect, but there are things that they may mitigate. For example, before this era, now we are talking about you are going to propose to a lady, you go on one knee, the Western culture. What we also fail to recognize is that the Western culture divorce
easily.
So you can just do all those paparazzi, get married, come together, and you are out. Why 2 years may even be too fast. Even if they buy a house together, they sell it and share. Their separate ways. But do you know that in our culture, you are not supposed ordinarily to go to a lady directly? For example, in my culture, the Yoruba culture. But even if you did, you would do it secretly. Then still go to the right channels. When you go to the right channels, they send some people to go and find out. Find out about that family, what's going on there, and all of that. Things that you will not see because you are blinded by love. Someone said that love is blind, but marriage opens the eyes.
Exactly.
So things that you are blinded to because of love and all of that, they are not blind. They are protective of their daughter or of their son. So they are going to find out some things and they will come back to you. There are times when they will say, no, this is not happening. The magnitude of this thing, when they realize that, in fact, unfortunately, the reason why they kick against other tribes in the past is because they cannot find out anything. By proxy, there's nothing, they don't know anything. They don't, apart from the integration and all of that, those other issues, they don't know how to find out about this thing, but they can find out about the next someone who lives a mile away, next town, and all of that. So, today, you are befriending someone, the guy is probably 5 years older than you, and he looks at you and he's trying to outsmart you. See what you say. You said something profound. Say, go take my number from my cousin. Do you know that many girls will not do that? The guy works at Chevron. He drives a big car. He has money. Well, my cousin should go and sit somewhere.
It can maintain me.
It can maintain me.
Maintenance.
He's already blind to any other thing.
Exactly.
So she's not even
Do you know that that guy may not be able to get your number from your big brother, from your older cousin, because the guy exactly. I know you very well. We know each other. We know what we have done. We know what we do. You don't come near my sister. You know, do you know that? But he won't do that. But she was smart to say, go through the right channel. Even when she made the mistake, the guy still didn't go through the right channel. He went through back doors. But thank God, because she was patient. She was patient, rather. She was still able able to see what is not compatible. Someone said that, Sassy said that the people can pretend you
Do
don't
you
see
know,
the red drive
Emperor,
flag.
do you know that thing came back to me? Some people were like, why? See this guy, you did not marry him. Are you dumb or what? Now he has gone for somebody, and he went for someone closer to me. He
Yeah.
went for another person closer to me, and now the marriage is so rocky. In fact, he's not living with the wife. The same thing I experienced from him. In fact, when my big cousin learned that he went for that one, he was so bitter because he now opened up that he would, had it been he knew, he wouldn't have allowed it, just like you said.
That is it. So the role that your dad is supposed to play, you sideline daddy. The role that your big brother is supposed to play,
checks
you
and
sideline.
balances.
The role that your pastor is supposed to play. I mean, there is Yoruba has a lot of words for almost anything, any scenario.
Exactly.
You know, you say what they are trying to say is that you are the one that is looking for trouble. You ignore all the red flags, you ignore all the support system that have been set in place long before you were born.
Okay.
You discard
Thank
them.
you,
And then,
Emperor.
Yeah.
I don't want us, I want the audience also to remember that we are talking about how to choose a
your
life
life
partner.
Yeah.
I want us to remember that, and we have been able to list out some things, but then we would still not end this episode without hearing from him. Yes, so let's have your own point of view. Let's have your opinions.
All right, just before Uncle Tops comes up or says his own part of the story, because we must hear that is because I want to amplify the fact that we need to go through personal discoveries before we start choosing partners. Getting to know yourself, because you want to get into someone's life without knowing yourself. It's not really going to work that way. And you have to now decide if you are willing to cope with or work with the differences of that person, if you are fine with it, background checks, what you like, what you don't like. Maybe when you want to sleep, you like the light on, she likes the light off, she likes to go out, you do like to go out, and all of those things. It's something that you should take a step back. There are books on personal discoveries. You can do tests, assessments to know yourselves with psychotherapists. And at the end of the day, you really say, okay, this is who I am, and this is the kind of person that I think I'll be able to marry. And of course, when you pray, God speaks to you, everything falls in place. And when marriage comes, you begin the work of now bonding, getting to know yourselves. At that point, okay, this is the kind of person I can roll with.
Yeah, you still face challenge.
Exactly, I wanted to come into that.
To be prepared.
Then you are prepared already. You have that ground already.
You would face it. Basically.
Yeah.
So, Uncle Joe,
I remember at the beginning of the show, I was saying something. I said, if you don't know yourself, you won't know what you want.
Exactly.
You won't. You can't be someone who is not kind and you expect that you have to experience somebody or marry somebody that is so kind, and you are not kind yourself.
Exactly.
So you have to know yourself before you can say you want to go into a journey.
Make friends,
Yes.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Came to
Thank
my
you.
mind. Sorry. This running test, you just mentioned it wrong.
Assessment.
Getting to know your genotype before you get married.
Blood group, genotype.
Is that not necessary?
Very
Just mention it.
You see, that is where conversation. If you don't have a conversation, there's no way you.
But it's
That's
not
where you
all
start
marriages.
from.
It's not all people that do that before they get married.
They
So
should
what
do
are they
it
going to counseling
too
for?
much.
So what's counseling?
Too
They
much.
didn't go through counseling because even in counseling they will ask them, do you know your genotype? Do you know your father's house? Do you know Kiniko?
Do you know people who aren't sincere, they avoid counseling.
See, do you see the
They
issue of
counseling? They don't want to have anything to do with counseling.
Yes.
before my wife and I got married, we did blood tests, and our blood groups were compatible, but there was something else. I was resource positive. Men are
Resource
usually
factor.
resource positive. She was resource negative. Right there, we had been cancelled that whenever we have a baby, she has to take a special injection. Yeah, so we have to take program injection every time we have a baby within 72 hours or so. And surprisingly, even if we have a miscarriage, we still have to take this injection. I don't know if that is still the case today, but this we would not have known if we had not done all this.
Exactly.
I think we should hear about the Uncle Tola.
Yeah.
I haven't heard your story.
Yeah, the sweet story, and
Alright,
we want to hear your opinion
Okay.
on choosing a life partner.
Now, prior to meeting my wife, I did the 3 days thing like airport. I think I caught wind from where he was. I like, okay, let me follow him. And so I was like, I think it was 3 days, and I locked myself up like you did.
So we are not alone.
Yeah, no.
Not alone.
I locked myself up because I won't lie. Ever since I had given my life to Christ, I was afraid that was an area of my life I'll be cornered by the devil.
Exactly.
I was concerned, you know, that I'm doing fine as a Christian now, but this area, you know, so it was a great concern to me. I'd been praying, of course, when I remember. So those 3 days, I took the time out and I sought the face of God, and I received someone. And of course, this is not somebody I would have chosen on a normal day. I received someone and I started the process. And it was the most grueling 8 months of my life. I turned to a bone because I will have to go check up on her where she was, of course, on Redemption City, long distance, which was my normal routine. Walk like 40 minutes because at the time maybe I'm going in the evening, no ride, no transportation, so on and so forth. It was tough. She wasn't giving me response, even though she friend zoned me, and she like literally held me bound. Wow. Like it was like she liked me, she loved me, but she wasn't giving me a response. And she still wanted me around.
Maybe she was also praying.
Yeah.
Whatever it was, I would say something that happened because I needed to share this before talking about my wife. Because something happened. And one of those days I went to check up on her, and she was eating bread. And she offered me, she was like, do you mind? I said, I don't mind, bread and jam. And I said, jam. I now said I wouldn't mind it with mayonnaise because I taught her how to eat jam and mayonnaise. And so she now said no, that I can't have mayonnaise. And I kept quiet. And when I was about leaving, she said, are you not eating anymore? I said, you didn't offer me. I told her because, I wouldn't do that to a friend. A male friend. How much more somebody who's asking for your hand in marriage, you know? And I went that way. But the story behind that was, I was the one that bought that mayonnaise. She didn't allow me it. It wasn't like she bought it. I did. You know? And so at a point in time, somebody she knows that I know just told me, he said, step out of that stuff. Step out of that relationship. He said, get out of it. And I spoke to myself. I said, man, true. I need to be out of this. So I told her, I said, I'm withdrawing my proposal. And I withdrew it. But even though I withdrew my proposal, I was still emotionally attached. I stopped checking up on her, but my heart was still there. And God spoke to me. He said, withdraw your heart. And that was it. And it went that way. It was maybe months after that I met my wife. We were attending the same church. And so I've been seeing her. And I remember one day I saw her. She wore a particular dress. And I looked at her. And in my heart, I said, I can never marry this kind of person. That's what I said. And the next time in church, they called for a meeting. She was called for that meeting. I was called for the meeting. And somehow, someway, by providence, divine providence, we sat beside each other. And I'm this kind of a person. I am a conversational person. I'm not the type that will go somewhere and I'll relate with people. What is life? I'm sociable. So I just sat down beside her and I just said, hey, what's up? How you doing? What's your name? We introduced ourselves and everything. And somehow, someway, we exchanged numbers. And the next thing, she was the one that reached out to me via WhatsApp. So I told her, I think on the 4th or the 5th day, I told her I'll check up on her. And I went to check up on her. And I checked on her the first time. I told her, the lady is intelligent. We took a walk, we talked. Then the next day I came, we talked, took a walk again. 3rd day came, we just kept on. The 4th day came again. On the 4th day, I spoke to myself. I said, Tokumo, this is how you start getting emotionally attached to this person, because it's almost natural that when you start conversing with somebody over a period of time, regularly. And I just said in my heart, this is the last time I'm coming here. And the person that I am, when I make certain decisions, I stick to it. And in my heart, and that was it. But I asked that question. I said, if we continue having these kind of conversations and we keep on seeing ourselves, do you think we could fall in love? What I was trying to do when I was asking that question was, so when you don't see me again, you know why you are not seeing me. And that was it. I started walking home. As I was walking home, I just heard the voice of the Lord. When a door closes, pay attention to the one I'm opening. And it was so clear and distinct to me because I think 3-4 months before that time, I had a revelation that the door was open. There's no time to share the details. And I posted it on Facebook. I said, the door is open in Jesus' name. Again, I posted it again. I say the door is open in Jesus' name. Of course, I had a deal with God, and God started moving in that line, in the line of open doors. So when that word came, it was so clear and distinct. And I told my friend, and my friend said, he's a prayer guy. He is the kind of person, whatever it is, pray. And he told me that we should pray that. I said, I'm going to propose to this lady tomorrow. Imagine somebody I wasn't going to say again. I said, I'm going there tomorrow to propose. And the guy said, please, let us pray first. And I told him, because prior to that time, God told me 2 weeks, 3 weeks prior to that time, that all the years I've been praying the prayer of fear. Sincerely, and it was true. I've been praying the prayer of fear, not the prayer of faith concerning marriage. And I told my friend, if I'm praying again, he said, am I not going back to what God revealed to me? Prayer of fear. But what I told myself was, okay, I wouldn't propose again tomorrow, because at this time I was 37 years of age. I said, I won't propose tomorrow. I'll just pay a visit. And we'll just continue, and I'll, what you call, observe. Now we're talking about, that was the 9th day that I'd met. We exchanged numbers, we chatted, and I visited her 4 times. And that's how I went to check up on her the next day. And we got talking. And before you know what's happening, my tongue went loose against my will.
Okay.
And I was proposing. And in my head, I'm like, what are you doing? And I was proposing to her. And I'm like, what are you doing? I was telling myself in my head, what are you doing? You're not supposed to say anything. You are meant to observe.
You were not in control of your tongue?
Not in control of my tongue. Amazingly, funnily, I was not in love. No emotional attachment, nothing. Till I got married, I was not emotionally attached to my wife. Till I got married. And I just started spewing, and she just told me something. She just said, she'll get back to me. Unknown to me, before my wife and I ever talked, she had had a revelation about me. In that revelation, we were very good friends. And I told her in that revelation that I can't marry her. Remember the statement I said when I saw her dress, and I said, I can't marry this person. And so she said she started crying in the revelation, in the dream. She woke up crying, somebody you've never talked to, you just see him in church. And she woke up crying. And she told her mom. Her mom told her this, that when he said, the Bible says that the devil can come as an angel of light. And she further said that you might be saying you cannot have what God has given to you. That's what she said. And so that's why she said she's going to get back to me. So she went and called her mom and said, you know that revelation I told you and the person I told you about? He said, yes, proposed to me. And that's how the journey started.
Amazing.
I mean, it's sincerely, and not only that, because you expect that one, I was 37. 2, I have had a child out of wedlock. At that point in time was, old, 16 or something. At that point in time. So you say there were already stumbling blocks that should not allow a smooth sailing process to marriage. But bro, man, it was so simple. It was one of the simplest things I've ever done, because God had already gone ahead of me. By the time I will meet with the parents and I started sharing some things to them, what was initially a quizzing, asking of questions, became a conversation. Then I went to visit, of course, our uncle. He just took a liking to me. Went to visit our aunt, the mom's younger sister. I remember when we got there, God had gone ahead. She looked through the window before she opened the door. And she, in her mind, like, I know this face. This face looks familiar. So by the time she opened the door, she went to do something, and she just came to meet me. Introduce yourself. I said, my name is Tofunmi Lady. As I wanted to continue, I said, Tofunmi Lady of Dove Television. She had been watching me, but she couldn't put it together until I mentioned that name. So already, what should have been a quizzing became a conversation. Yeah. Everything just went smooth sailing. And that's how I met my wife.
So what are we telling our audience? That is very, very important to pray. Yeah. I know that our audience, we have diverse people there, people who are Christians and other religions, they are watching as well. And no matter what you believe in, I know that we all believe in one God. And I know that there is a system in every religion that talks about prayer, talks about going deeper to understand things before you forge ahead. So this life partner, people actually separate or get divorced because they are not inquiring from God. Yes, they are not inquiring from God. They are not praying for God to give them a partner that will be sustained, a marriage that will be sustained. So in all you do, see all the people here, they are, what will you say? They are handsome, they are beautiful, they are flashy, but in their closet, they pray. So that's the few. They pray.
And we're happy people. I can say this confidently. I have a happy home. And I don't regret getting married to the woman I've gotten married to. And furthermore, Papi Sam, I used to say that his own wedding further approves yours of mine. I mean, through me, I mean, he met his wife.
And I draw 2 points from him getting married. Okay. And this is for people that are singles, older singles, or single parents, that you actually can get married and can have a fresh beginning. So you don't have to say, oh, because of who I am, let me just look for somebody like me, single, and they will now marry together. God can start with you brand new. Exactly. So when I knew that he was going to get married, and I knew brand new, like, so God can start with people afresh. Yeah. It doesn't have to do with your past. And for me, there's not like a child outside wedlock. That phrase for me is derogatory. It's a child that God has given to you.
Yes.
You know.
In agreement.
God blessed you with it. Either you want it that time or you didn't want it. Yes. God gave it to you. But the truth of the matter is that for older singles and single parents that do not have other, and you are trusting God to be married, there is hope for you.
There is.
Take this out of his life. There is hope for you, for God to give you brand new, start afresh. Don't limit yourself. Because that's one of the things he said to me at that time. That I told God that yes about this, but I want to start with me on a note. And God did. And it's something that can happen. Don't think of yourself too low, but then continue with God. You may not have started with God though, but continue with God and put everything in place and see how things will turn out so beautifully well, and you can choose a life partner that will bring you peace at the end of the day.
All right, this brings us to the end of this amazing program with amazing and happy people. And to you watching, I want to believe that you've been blessed like we've heard, and I want you to know that God cannot be taken out of this equation. If you really want to choose right and you don't want to look back over the years and regret, I encourage you to pay attention to that. And yes, please remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please like, share, comment, and also click on the notification bell so you can be notified on further developments. Yes, we still remain a happy people.
Happy family.